Hare Krishna, thank you for joining. Let's make a start. Srimad Bhagavatam, Sangha and discussion. And we'll sing Radha Madhav for now. Hari Hari Bol. Jai Radha Madhava, Jaya Kunja Bihari. Jai Radha Madhava, Jaya Kunja Bihari. Gopijana Vallabha, Jayo Giravardhari. Gopijana Vallabha, Jayo Giravardhari. Yashodanandana Vrajajana Ranjana, Yashodanandana Vrajajana Ranjana, Yamuna Tiravanchari, Jai Radha Madhava, Jaya Kunja Bihari. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Om Gyantimridhasya Gyanarjana Shalakya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah. Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Staptam Yena Bhutale Swamrupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yutapada Kamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavascha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadhvetam Savadutam Krishna Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sagana Lalita Shiva Shakhanvitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Deenabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kant Radha Kant Namastute Tapta Kanchan Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Reshabhanu Sutadevi Pranmami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpatu Brihascha Kirpa Sindhumevacha Patidana Pavnebhyo Vaishnavyo Namo Namah Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Iti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschati Deshatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasi Gaur Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare Hare Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Mukam Kroti Vachalam Pangum Nayate Grim Yat Kirpatam Hande Shri Gundim Taranam Paramananda Madhum Shitataneshram Hariyam Tassat Naram Namaskritya Naram Cheva Naruttamam Devim Sasmitvyasam Tato Jamaduriyat Nashtapresho Abduresho Nitam Bhagavad-Sevayā Bhagavati Uttam Shloke Bhakti Bhavti Neshtiki Hari Hari Bol. Jai. Okay. So we are on Chapter 2, verse 25, and we are discussing why only Krishna should be worshipped. So let's continue with that, and I hope the information hasn't disappeared, still here. Okay, nice. So verse 25, Vajire Munyo Thagre Bhagvantam Adokshajam Sattvam Vishudam Shemya Kalpante Yenu Tan Iha. So Vajire rendered service, Munyaha, the sages, Athathas, Agre, previously, Bhagvantam, onto the personality Godhead, Adokshajam, the transcendence, Sattvam, existence, Vishuddham, above the three modes of nature, Shemaya, to derive the ultimate benefit, kalpante deserve, ye those follow, than those iha in this material world. Majire munyo thagare bhagavantam adokshijam sattvam vishudam shemaya kalpante ye nutan iha. Okay, and the translation is: previously all the great sages rendered service unto the personality Godhead due to his existence above the three modes of material nature. They worshipped him to become free from material conditions and thus derive the ultimate benefit. Whoever follows such great authorities is eligible for liberation from the material world. So previously all the great sages rendered service unto personality Godhead due to his existence above the three modes of nature. Because as we said that he's not controlled by the modes. He doesn't actually even have anything to do with the modes. And he's the only one who's not controlled by the modes. You know, Shiva in charge of the mode of ignorance. Well, I don't think that's probably a good argument, because when we have Vishnu in charge of the mode of goodness. But having said that, Shiva and Brahma can get controlled by the modes, but not Vishnu. Right. The purpose of performing religion is neither to profit by material gain, nor to get the simple knowledge of discerning matter from spirit. Okay. The ultimate aim of religious performance is to release oneself from material bondage and regain the life of freedom in the transcendental world, where the personality Godhead is the supreme person. Laws of religion, therefore, are directly enacted by the personality of Godhead, and except for the Mahajans or the authorized agents of the Lord, no one knows the purpose of religion. There are 12 particular agents of the Lord who know the purpose of religion, and all of them render transcendental service unto him. Persons who desire their own good may follow these Mahajans and thus attain the supreme benefit. So we're talking about the 12 Mahajans. I'm sure you know, but we can have a look anyway. So Srila Prabhupada explains the goal of life is to come out of prison of this material world, as we were discussing last week in an elaborate way, not to improve our conditions inside, because mostly that's what people are doing by karma kand or just by doing pious activities. It's not that you don't do pious activities, but you do them in a Krishna conscious way. You know, of course you do the pious activities, but they have to be spiritualized. You have to Krishnaize everything. So if you're giving people food, give them prasad. That's just one very good example that we use. So there are 12 Mahajans who know the purpose of religion. So these people have been Mahajan, as in like great personalities who knew what the goal of life was. And I'll just go through some of them. Brahma, Shiva, Sukdev Goswami, Prahlad, Narad, Janak Maharaj, 4 Kumaras, they're taken as one. Kapila, Sambhuva Manu, Vishamdev, Bali Maharaj, and Yamraj. These are all Mahajans because they know the purpose of life. They know who to worship and how to worship. Okay, let's go on to next verse, text 26. Mumukshavo Gaura Rupan Hitva Bhuta Patin Atha Narayan Kalha Shanta Bhajanti Hi Anasuyavaha. Excuse me. Mumukshavaha, persons desiring liberation. Gaura, horrible, ghastly. Rupan, forms like that. Hitva, rejecting. Bhuta Patin, demigods. Atha, for this reason, Narayan, the personality Godhead. Kalha, plenary portions. Shanta, all blissful. Bhajanti, do worship. He, certainly. Ansuyavha, non-envious. Mumukshva Gora Rupan Hitva Bhuta Patnin Atha Narayan Kalaha Shanta Bhajanti Hi Anusuyavaha. Those who are serious about liberation are certainly non-envious, and they respect all. So these are some of the qualities we have to have: non-enviousness and respect for everyone. Even respect for people we don't get on with, we still respect them, but now we can respect them from the distance. If you don't get on with somebody, still respect them because they are devotees, but respect them from the distance. You don't have to interact with them. Just Hare Krishna is fine, but don't disrespect anyone. A devotee never disrespects anyone, and don't be envious of anyone who's doing well in this or that service, because remember, we are on this. We are with the same team. We are part of the same team, and we are after the same goal. So we don't compete like that. Oh, why is this person better than me, like that? No, you get inspired by them saying, oh, it'd be great, if I can try harder and maybe do something as well. So yet they reject the horrible and ghastly forms of demigods and worship only the all blissful forms of Lord Vishnu and his plenary portions. Okay, so we basically, Prabhupada asked us to worship Krishna himself, but plenary portions, somebody wants to worship is plenary, like we have Vishnu or Narsingadev, like that, but best to worship Krishna himself, because the other plenary portions have their own planets. If you want to go back to Goloka Vrindavan, so let's worship Krishna himself. If you want to go to Vaikuntha planets, then there's so many unlimited Vaikuntha planets. You can worship Vishnu and go back to the Vaikuntha planets. So the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna, who is the original person of the Vishnu categories, expands himself in two different categories, namely integrated plenary portions and separated parts and parcels, which is us. The separated parts and parcels are the servitors, and the integrated plenary portions of Vishnu Tattvas are the worshipable objects of service. All demigods who are empowered by the Supreme Lord are also separated parts and parcels. So even demigods are jivas, jiva tattvas. They do not belong to the categories of Vishnu Tattva. The Vishnu Tattvas are living beings equally as powerful as the original form of the personality Godhead. So Vishnu Tattvas are God, they are expansions of him himself, like the candles example, and whereas jivas become demigods, Brahma, Indra, like that, they are jiva souls. They are separated parts and parcels. And the Vishnu Tattvas are living beings equally as powerful as the original form of the personality Godhead, and they display different categories of power in consideration of different times and circumstances. So this is very interesting. They display different categories of power in consideration of different times and circumstances. Well, I'll discuss that after this. The separated parts and parcels are powerful by limitation. So the point is, Vishnu Tattvas are not limited, whereas we are limited in our strength and power and capacity. So, we are not acting, we are what we are. We don't have anything beyond that. We have our limitations. They do not have unlimited power like the Vishnu Tattvas. So they have Vishnu Tattvas, but they have, and like I said, I will discuss in a minute. Therefore, one should never classify the Vishnu Tattvas or the plenary portions of Narayan, the personal Godhead, in the same categories with parts and parcels. If anyone does so, he becomes at once an offender by the name Pashandi. In the age of Kali, many foolish persons commit such unlawful offenses and equalize the two categories. So I guess we're talking about the Mayavadis. If you think you are also God, then that is an offense. We are not equal to or above God. Even Lord Brahma and Lord Shiva is not, that's a second offense, not considered similar to or above Krishna. Krishna, there's only one Krishna, and there's no one is above him. The separate parts and parcels have different positions in the estimation of material powers, and some of them are like Kal Bhairav. The separated parts and parcels have different positions in the estimation of material powers, and some of them are like Kal Bhairav, Shamshan Bhairav, Shani, Mahakali, or Mahakali, and Chandika. So these demigods are worshipped mostly by those who are in the lowest categories of mode of darkness or ignorance. So this is worship in the mode of ignorance of these people, Kal Bhairav and Mahakali and Chandika. And these practices, they still go on. People do worship, especially Mahakali. There's temples to Mahakali, and there's Bhairav temples as well, which I know about. So yeah. Other demigods like Brahma, Shiva, Surya, Ganesha, and many other similar deities are worshipped by men in the mode of passion. So as we were saying last week, so that the first one was ignorance. Now we talk about Brahma, Shiva, Surya, Ganesh, and many similar deities. I mean, people do worship them a lot. A lot of people worship Ganesh. We do all the time in our, on festivals. We do Ganesh Puja. Surya, sun god, people worship sun god in the mornings, at sunrise. And Shiva, what to say of Shiva? Everybody worships Shiva, but no harm in worship Shiva, but you should worship as a devotee of Lord Krishna, then that's fine. Are worshipped by men in the mode of passion, urged by the desire for material enjoyment. So people are basically worshipping them because they want something from them, some material benefit. But Srila Prabhupada explaining that don't worship them for material enjoyment. If you want to worship them, then worship them for bhakti, like that. Maybe you get bhakti as well, because they're all devotees of the Lord. But those who are actually situated in the mode of goodness, sattva guna, of material nature, worship by only Vishnu tattvas. And this is what we do in Iskcon. We celebrate Vishnu tattva festivals and worship them. Are represented by various names such as Narayan, Damodar, Vamandev, Govinda, Adoshaja. The qualified Brahmins worship the Vishnu Tattvas represented by the Shaligram Shila. And some of the highest castes like the Kshatriya and the Vaishyas also generally worship the Vishnu Tattvas. Highly qualified Brahmanas or Brahmins situated in the mode of goodness have no grudges against the mode of worship of others. So you don't begrudge them or think them as lower. They're fine, that's the stage they're in. They will elevate. They have all respect for other demigods, even though they may look ghastly like Kal Bhairav or Mahakali. They know very well that these horrible features of Supreme Lord are all different servitors of Lord under different conditions. So, we still, whoever they are, whoever we are, we're still parts and parcels of the Lord. So we're all his energies, end of the day. Of the Lord under different conditions, yet they reject the worship of both horrible and attractive features of the demigods, and they concentrate only on the form Vishnu because they are serious about liberation from the material conditions. Because only Krishna can release you from the material conditions. The demigods, even to the stage of Brahma, the supreme of all the demigods, cannot offer liberation to anyone. So you've seen that these people, that they want liberation, they worship Brahma or Shiva, they want liberation, but they say, look, we can't give you that. We can give you a boon, but we cannot give you liberation. For liberation, only Narayan or Krishna can do that. Hiranyakashipu underwent a severe type of penance to become eternal in life, but his worshipful deity Brahma could not satisfy him with such blessings. So here's one example. Therefore, Vishnu and none else is called Muktipad. O the personality Godhead who can bestow upon us mukti, liberation. The demigods, being like other living entities in the material world, are all liquidated at the time of annihilation of the material structure. So when Brahma dies, end of his 100 years of life, then everything is liquidated. That's it. It's completely finished. Only the spiritual world is left. And then when then it starts again after some time when Krishna decides. They are themselves unable to get liberation. And what to speak of giving liberation to their devotees. The demigods can award the worship of some temporary benefit only and not the ultimate one. It is for this reason only that the candidates for liberation deliberately reject the worship of demigods, although they have no disrespect for any of them. So do not waste time in worshipping demigods if that's what you are worshipping them for. If you're worshipping them to get liberation, so it's explained here clearly that we don't disrespect the demigods, we include them in our worship. It's not a problem, but the ultimate deity of worship for us is Krishna, Radha and Krishna. That's who we worship. Others, we respect them, we include them in our worship, we honor them. But if you want liberation, so it's like the prison example. So the governor in the prison, we don't, he cannot release us from the prison. Only the government can release us. So Krishna is like the government, the prison governor. He can only give us better facilities. He cannot release. He can't decide that he can release us. He can maybe give us parole at most, but he cannot release us, indefinitely. That can only be done by the Lord himself, or in this case, the government. So, Srila Prabhupada explains, all Vishnu expansions have the same potency as the original, but they only exhibit specific power according to time, place, and circumstance. So that was what we were discussing early on. So all Vishnu Tattvas have same power as the Lord, because they are his expansions. But they only exhibit certain amount of power. So if you think Ram exhibited this, or Narasimha exhibit this, there's a reason. It's not that they don't have the power to exhibit everything, but time, place, circumstance, or their pastimes are such that they only need that much power. So the kind of pastimes they are required, for example, Lord Ram, he exhibited specific potencies, traits, and qualities like idealism, ideal king, husband, son, brother, because that was the requirement of that pastime. There's no need, to lift Govardhan or anything like that. It didn't have to have so many gopis around him because that was not his pastime. So it's still Krishna, but in a different mood. So Narasimha Dev exhibited the full potency of anger, whereas Krishna, he tried not, he was like sweet mood. Lord Krishna exhibited all his potencies, all his qualities, especially qualities of sweetness. So when Krishna came as himself, he was exhibiting all his qualities. But in the other expansions, he has different moods, and he exhibits his qualities according to his mood. But that does not mean that he's still not Krishna. He's still Krishna. Whether he's Matsya Avatar or he's Varadev, he's still Krishna. So just to reiterate, the devotees don't disrespect or criticize the other forms of the Lord in terms of separated parts and parcels, the demigods and different features of the demigods. They understand that these demigods have certain roles and purposes as well. They are there in the Vedic system to help with the various entities. Veda are for all grades of entities. So the demigods have certain parts to play in Krishna's Leela. So that they have certain roles. They are the staff of Leela of Krishna. When material world is created, you need people to run it, and basically that's what they're doing. That they are running the material world alongside Lord Brahma. And explained about Kali Puja, like I said, there's still a lot of Kali temples, Mahakali temples, and people are worshipping Kali. That is like Kali Puja for those people who want to eat meat. But they can eat in a regulated way with mantras and other practices. They should eventually realize their mistake and give it up. So just trying to regulate people, started doing things in an uncontrolled way, trying to regulate people. The meat should be cut in a certain way, and certain worship should be done, and meat can only be eaten on certain days or certain times of the month, like that. So when something is regulated, you start thinking, and you get purification anyway because you're following a religious system. So your mind is getting, your consciousness is becoming purified, and eventually you will rise to a higher position. Let's go to 27. Radhastama prakritya samshila bhajanti vai pitarbhuta prajeshadin Shriya Ishwaraya Parjapasvaha. Raja, the mode of passion, Tamha, the mode of ignorance, Prakritya, of that mentality, Samashila, of the same categories, Bhajanti, do worship. Why? Actually, Pitar, the forefathers, Bhuta, or the living beings, Parjesh Adin, controllers of cosmic administration, Shriya, enrichment, Aishwarya, wealth and power, Praja, progeny, Savaha, so desiring. Radhastama prakritiha samshila bhajanti vai pitarbhuta paje shadin Shriyai Shvara Prajap Savaha. Those who are in the modes of passion and ignorance worship those in the same category, namely the forefathers, other living beings, and the demigods who are in charge of cosmic activities, for they are urged by a desire to be materially benefited with women, wealth, power, and progeny. So Srimad Bhagavatam has laid out the different categories of people, of worship, or different gunas, and just to highlight the position of Lord Krishna, where why we are worshipping Lord Krishna. If somebody now asks the question, there's so many, why you not worshiping Shiva, why you not worshiping Brahma, why you not worshiping Durga Mata or Kali, people may ask why you not doing this. So we know we can send them to these shlokas, that this is why we not worship them, because they are below the Lord, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. They are gods in their own right, but they're not the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So there is no need to worship demigods or whatsoever category if one is serious about going back to Godhead. In the Bhagavad-Gita 7:20 and 23, it is clearly said that those who are mad after material enjoyment approach the different demigods for temporary benefits, which are meant for men with a poor fund of knowledge. We should never desire to increase the depth of material enjoyment, because material enjoyment should be accepted only up to the point of the bare necessities of life, and not more or less than that. So some enjoyment is okay, we don't be completely dry, but only what we need, not out of control enjoyment. To accept more material enjoyment means to bind oneself more and more to the miseries of material existence. So if on one side we are asking for liberation, on the other side we are binding ourselves, and what is the point? That's hatimat. There's no point in purifying if you're still gonna spend time just enjoying, thinking that enjoying is everything. More wealth, more women, and forced aristocracy are some of the demands of the materially disposed man, because he has no information of the benefit derived from Vishnu worship. By Vishnu worship, one can derive benefit in this life as well as in life after death. Forgetting these principles, foolish people who are after more wealth, more wives, and more children worship various demigods, The aim of life is to end the miseries of life and not to increase them. And we see that, we see in the headlines in the news, we see people actually doing that, right? They want more wealth, they want more wives, they want more children. We've seen very good examples right now in the media of people, who have told these three things. So, Prabhupada is telling us that, this is the nature of the world. People who are multi-rich, they want to get even richer, they want to be billionaires. It's not enough. They might have had so many wives, still not enough. They might have so many children, they're still not enough. More and more, there's no limit. That's how the mind works. There is no limit. For material enjoyment, there is no need to approach the demigods. The demigods are but servants of the Lord. As such, they are duty bound to supply necessities of life. So they are demigods, supply water. They have a water company, they have an electric company, they have an air company, right? They are running companies for Krishna, etc. One should work hard and worship the Supreme Lord by the fruits of one's hard labor for existence. So they're all managers, we have to worship the boss. Worship the Lord, the boss of the companies. We're worshipping the managers. And that should be the motto of life. One should be careful to execute occupational service with faith in God in the proper way, and that will lead one gradually on the progressive march back to Godhead. So one should work hard and worship the Supreme Lord by the fruits of one's hard labor for existence. And that should be the motto of life. So we worship God with our earnings, with our energy, with our knowledge, right? Everything that we have in our possession, we worship with our wisdom, if we, with our qualities, whatever we can offer in the service, we offer it. One should be careful to execute occupational service with faith in God in a proper way, and that will lead one gradually on the progressive march back to Godhead. Lord Sri Krishna, when he was personally present at Braj Dham, stopped the worship of the Lord of the demigod Indra. So here's an example. And advised the residents of Braj to worship by their business and to have faith in God. Worshipping the multi-demigods for material gain is practically a perversity of religion. This sort of religious activity has been condemned in the very beginning of the Bhagavatam as Kaitva Dharma. There is only one religion in the world to be followed by one and all, and that is the Bhagavad-Dharma. Religion which teaches one to worship the Supreme Personality Godhead and no one else. So it's made quite clear. Sarva Dharma Prajya Mam Ekam Sharanam Braj. So give up all types of religions and worship Krishna. So Sarva Dharma Pratyajya Mam Ekam Sharanam Braj. Give up all types of religions and only worship Krishna. That's what Krishna told us. And so Srila Prabhupada just explains that if you have fever, you don't try to increase it. So if you have the fever of material life, you should not increase this fever by worshipping demigods. So that's what you're doing. By worshipping the demigods and not worshipping Krishna, you're just increasing your bondage to material life more and more. You're increasing the material fever more and more. And that's the explanation why we don't worship demigods. So thank you so much, and like to hear from you all. Thank you for joining. And okay, we have time. Pundikaksh Prabhu, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, Srila Prabhupada. Please accept my humble obeisances. Very wonderful verses, Prabhuji, again, and you nicely explained. The few points which I picked up from these verses, like the very first verse talks about liberation. Liberation, Prabhupada defined it as not going somewhere else, but you are getting free from the cycle of birth and death or free from the three modes of material nature, or free from the three kleshas, which is Adi Devik, Adi Bhautik, and Adhyatmik. To achieve that liberation, we need to seek the shelter of Supreme Personality of Godhead, engage in devotional service, concentrate your mind on worshipping Lord Vishnu Narayan or Vishnu Tattva forms, and try to develop that spontaneous love for Krishna. I mean, that's what we are reading in the before also. Srimad Kevalam. If you are not able to get that love for Krishna, then whatever activities you do, it's of no use. And in the second text, it mentioned that those people who desire liberation, they are non-envious. So I was looking on this point, which is so in Bhagavad-Gita chapter 16, text 8, Krishna says that enviousness is actually the one of the gate for the hell. So on the pride, because of lust, and because of false ego, they develop enviousness towards the Lord Himself. Um, and given the example of Duryodhan was not having direct enviousness with Krishna initially, but he was envious of Pandavas, and due to which eventually he developed enviousness for the Lord. So the devotees will not have that enviousness towards anybody. They treat everybody same. Samadarshinaha, Pandita Samadarshina, one who got that knowledge, they will see everybody equally. And I was reading a column from Chaitanya Charan Prabhu, a spiritual scientist. He said like ego. I mean, we become egocentric. I mean, reasons for enviousness are like becoming egocentric, and we start comparing ourselves with other people and seeing that their material desires are getting satisfied. Then why my desires are not getting satisfied? And looking at them, we actually develop that enviousness towards other people, and because of this enviousness, you do so many things which are not correct and against the scriptures, and you fall down again to this material world. So in 16.8, Prabhupada mentioned that those who are envious, they don't think that the present life is actually preparation for the next life. So when you don't have that idea which is given in the scriptures, then you end up doing so many activities, again you fall down, and you'll never be able to liberate from this world. And it's only Lord Vishnu who can deliver us. Lord Krishna can deliver us. So Krishna says in Sarvadharmam Parityajya, in the last line it says, Moksha Ishami Ma Suchaha. So do not fear. I will deliver you, free you from your sinful reactions. So and you will return my abode from where you will never return. So it is only Lord Vishnu or Lord Krishna who can deliver us. So demigods, they themselves disappear during the annihilation. So how can they give liberation to somebody or moksha to somebody? That's why demigods. Prabhupada mentioned the purport that we can worship demigods for satisfying the basic needs. Um, if you are struggling with the basic needs itself, yes, demigods worship is okay, but it's not for the liberation. For the actual devotional service, you have to worship only Lord Vishnu or Krishna. Yeah, that's all, Prabhuji. Thank you, Shiv.
So much, yes, so nicely explained. Yes, and well picked up on the envious topic. Yeah, I mean, if you trying to please some parents, then you have to show some respect for their children. Yes, and we are all children of Krishna, parts and parcels. So if we don't respect Krishna's children, how is Krishna gonna take notice of you in a beneficial way? So yeah, you have to respect everyone. And but Prabhupada says that when you love Krishna, you love everyone. But until we can build that love, we have to start, from the children. So thank you so much, Prabhuji. Kiran Prabhu, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Again, a few verses with so much depth in them. And for me, I think much the same as what Purlakash Prabhu has mentioned, that the concept of envy is such a powerful thing, and it can bind us and keep us attached to this material world. Removing envy and jealousies are prerequisites for any journey on the path to liberation. It also mentioned respect for all. That's not just human beings, it's respect for all that is evidence in nature. All creatures that are inhabiting our environment, we should have respect for them. And hence, we see Mother Nature and Mother Earth in a very auspicious way. We revere it. And hence that's the difference between the Eastern approach to living in the world and the Western approach of exploiting, pillaging, and ravaging, whereas we have some adherence to the earth with reverence and with love and compassion. It also indicates that Krishna is the source of everything. Others serve a purpose. We had this discussion before. He's the ultimate river. The others serve as little wells. They do have a role and a responsibility, but everything emanates and everything goes back to the river, the source, and to the sea. And hence Krishna is the font of all that flows from these little wells. Focusing on the demigods is for those who have some awareness of spirituality and wisdom. However, it is tinged with the mode of ignorance. Krishna is the only one who can offer liberation. And why seek little crumbs when you can receive the whole of creation and the whole of the entire universe with Krishna? Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Yes, thank you so much, Prabhu. Very nice. Deepak Prabhu?
Hare Krishna, Babuji.
Hare Krishna.
The main takeaways for me, obviously, is the biggest one, which is that Krishna is the supreme, and even though that we should respect all demigods, and not that we say that yes, we are to worship only Krishna and disregard or not respect any of them, but just keep in mind that he is the supreme, and if we are to, our goal is final liberation or moksha, then we should be only and only worshipping Krishna with the due diligence and following, like for example, the four regulatory principles, chanting our rounds preferably before 10 or 10:30 in the morning in that sattva tattva, and try to be in that sattva gun rather than in the mode of ignorance and passion. And but the only thing is that since the time that obviously we have been kids, and Bhagavatam has been there since time immemorial, but I think it is just these some of these pandits or so-called religious priests, they have kind of um, changed, not changed. I would say not followed the strict principles of Bhagavatam and changed the things as per their own convenience. That is why, especially in India, you hear so much about Ganesha, Ma Durga, Shivji and Brahmaji, and they have started using it for their own principal purposes. And people do follow it because most of the times, even like we also are entangled in the materialistic world. We do want liberation, but with the liberation, because we are living in this material world, sometimes it is that immediate benefit which entangles us. So we are not looking at the bigger picture, and bigger picture is liberation. But what, let's say, for example, I'm not getting a job, and I go to a Panditji and he says, "Oh, you do this and you will get a job. You need to please Lord Shiva, or there is Shani on you and everything." But one thing which needs to be kept on the mind is, if you please the boss, then if the boss is in your hand, then everything is in your hand. So I think that is one main takeaway for me. That's it. Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much, Prabhu. Yeah, first of all, yeah, like Kiran Prabhu says that, yes, we got to respect every living entity because, whatever body they're in, whether a plant body, animal body, doesn't matter, they're still parts and parcels of Krishna, so respect. And what you mentioned, yes, you're right. It's very, thing is, when you're running an organization, whether it's temple or in any religious organization, it's very easy sometimes to fall, treat like a business. Yes, to some extent you have to treat like a business because you have bills to pay, but sometimes you might get carried away if you're business minded, to totally treat it like a business. And then when you treat your organization like even though it's religious, it's about God, you give in transcendental knowledge. But when you're treating like a business, then you start seeing people as customers. It's automatic, you start seeing them as customers, and then you start thinking, what do the customers want? And you go to some temple, they have every deity, they will add on other deities because there's a demand. You think that the people are coming, they worship this deity, there's a demand for it. So yeah, there has to be. I mean, it's nice if you look at it from the point of view that you're helping people to elevate. Like this is what the argument is, that we're helping people to elevate whichever stage they're in. So we don't begrudge anyone if they're at a lower stage or they're in a lower stage, because that's where they are. Even like meat eaters, there's help for them as well, that you eat it this way, bring them up. So yeah, it's everybody's at a different stage, and but yeah, the organizers have to be careful that they don't get carried away, with the business mindedness. Rather, give more spirituality than business. Thank you so much, Prabhu. Yeah, you're right. Okay, Hina Mataji, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Very, very nice points have already been made by the devotees. And for me, I was thinking about the verse about those in the modes of passion and ignorance worship those in the lower category for temporary material items for their sense gratification. It's just interesting about how they themselves, the demigods, for example, they cannot liberate anyone. And seeking sense gratification is not the goal of life, which is almost like hard-coded into the material world. People live for sense gratification. That's like the prime objective of life is sense gratification and developing their own material comforts, etc. And I was just thinking about how even in Krishna Lila, Lord Krishna discouraged even his father, Nanda Maharaj, to worship the demigod Indra when they wanted to do an offering. So, that came to mind as well while you were reading. So we only really need to worship Krishna. He's the highest, the highest pleasure, the topmost controller. So all worship should ultimately be directed to him. And I was also thinking about how the demigods are also dependent on Krishna as well. They may offer their benedictions to people who go to them. It's all sanctioned by the Lord. It's all sanctioned by Krishna. Not a blade of grass moves without his sanction. So we're best to go direct to him. We're best to bypass the demigod and go straight to the top. Hare Krishna. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Yes, that's right. We save a lot of time, wouldn't we? We can ask anything from Krishna. We can ask anything, and if Krishna feels that it is beneficial, he will show. For our bhakti, he will surely give it to us. If he doesn't give it, then that means it's not good for our goal, and we just have to accept it. Thank you so much, Mataji. Acharya Gora Raya Prabhu.
Hare Krishna. Yes, I mean the importance of Bhagavatam is really pushed in these verses because it is very easy to be confused because within the Vedic literatures there's a lot of material content there included to attract the materialists. Vyasdev has deliberately done that because he wants everybody to be attracted, not just those that have not necessarily just intelligence, just they have understood that actually Krishna is the goal, Bhakti is the goal, but everybody gets attracted and they can work their way up. But if you are materially attracted, you are looking for material attraction, then it's very easy just to think, okay, actually I'll just pick and choose what I want. If I read this, maybe I can get more money, or read this, I can get better health, so better, maybe better pray for your family, that sort of thing. It's natural to get entangled within it. And there's so much, because it's within the Vedic literature, you can argue, okay, well, it's in there, so what's wrong with it? So as I explained in the second verse, it's 112, it's explained that this Bhagavad Puran propounds the highest truth, and it's doing that within these verses, is that it's distinguishing reality from illusion. And we need to really make use of it, this, because otherwise you can just spend many lives just going around in circles, not really figuring out what's real, what's fake. And that's how you get entangled, because you just think to yourself, okay, I've done enough, I've done a bit of piety, and then you maybe pick up a bit of good karma, you move on to your next life, you forgot what's happened, and the cycle continues. So we are fortunate that we have this opportunity to progress in our spiritual life, and if Krishna desires, we can go back to Godhead, or we go serve somewhere else. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. I was just thinking, even in school here in the UK, like they have sets, for every top subject they have sets. Maths, like they have set 1, set 2, set 3. So set 1, you could consider the people who are in there, really clever, intelligent. So if you got Krishna consciousness, you are intelligent if you come to worship Krishna. So these are people who are actually going to university, standard. And set 2 people will be people who will just get a good job. They will get a nice job end of the day and the studies. And set 3, they're hoping the people who are in there will learn some basic English and some arithmetic, some maths that they can use in their lives. So you could treat it like that. So there has to be opportunity for everyone. People who just need basic knowledge, people who are high university standard, Oxford standard. So there is opportunity for everyone. So that's why you can't just say only the university standard can come to school, or just people who will get some kind of skill can come to school. Has to provide for everyone. This is what Krishna does. That's why you have the Vedas come straight from Krishna. He's providing something for everyone, and he's hoping that next time they will move into set 2, move into set 1, and come to university. In our case, back to Goloka. Thank you so much. And I think Parveen Mataji is busy today, so she's listening only.
Okay, I've just come to the other room now.
Okay.
So I've just escaped from there. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Yes, very nice verses, Prabhuji. Just like, even if we just focus on these couple of verses, we can change our life. It tells you the ultimate aim of life. What is the ultimate dharma? It's the Bhagavad Dharma, worship Krishna. And Radhanath Maharaj always says, always remember Krishna and never forget Krishna. And then the verses tells about worshipping demigods. They can give us boons, but not liberation, because even they are not liberated. And even demigods, they desire to have the human life, so they can worship the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So we are very, very fortunate. And also in Bhagavad-Gita, Krishna himself, he says, men of small intelligence worship the demigods, but their fruits are limited and temporary. So those who worship the demigods go to the planets of the demigods, and my devotees ultimately reach my supreme planet. So everything is made very, very clear. So it is up to us now to take the association, attend your classes, and progress on this path. So, yeah. Thank you so much, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Mataji. Radharani?
Hare Krishna, everyone. Yes, listening to these verses, we realize that Krishna has made not just this universe for all our desires, but he has made a beautiful, you can say, online portal as well for us, where we can choose which kind of spirituality we would like to shop for our own benefit. And as you know, when we go to buy some grocery out there, we know what is good for our health, but still we sometimes succumb to our desires, and we go for something which is not good for our health. We do buy junk food now and then, and we go outside and eat some stuff which we know is not good for us in long run. As devotees, we know it is not prepared in a very bhakti manner and all that, but still we do that. So in the similar way, because we are the jivas of the Kali Yuga, we are not very strong-minded. We think that we are determined. We make our determination every day. We say this week I'm going to do all my rounds in one go, in one sitting. But lo and behold, after 2-3 days, you will see, after doing say about half of the rounds, you have to get up to do something. You'll say, okay, so what? I will come back in a while. And we are lazy, we are misguided, we want to enjoy. So there are demigods, and demigods are there to give the supply which is coming from Krishna to us. They are like the mediums, like it was nicely said in the class. They are like the owner of the companies. For example, the owner of the water company is Indradev, and we think that the owners of the company, they are providing stuff just for our enjoyment, for the enjoyment of our body, for the enjoyment of our life on this earth. We don't think that we are eternal selves, we are eternal jivas, we are going to continue our journey. So we just think of the upkeep of what we can see, which is our bodies, because our souls we can't see, and we only hear about it when we come to the sanghas, or we're reading Bhagavad-Gita or Bhagavatam, or participating in some sort of discussions. So this is our problem. So these sanghas and these scriptures, they continuously help us, and Mahabhagavats like Srila Prabhupada, who came to this earth to make these things easily accessible to us according to our understanding. There's everything in there. Some shlokas are so easy to to grasp and understand, sorry, and some are a little bit difficult to understand. But still, if we put our mind into it, as humans, if we put our mind into something, we can do everything. Everything has been made in this world, whether it is, for example, Taj Mahal, or say Eiffel Tower, or other big monuments. When you look at them, these pyramids, you think they were made centuries ago. How were they made? There were no machines, but there was only the same human beings, just like us. So when people want to put their mind, and they can construct such things, so Krishna is actually telling us that we can do, through the stories of Bhagavatam, that we can also build the bridge from here and now, where we are, to the ultimate abode of Krishna. So yes, we have everything. It's just channelizing our energies into the right direction. That is what is needed. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you. Nice to explain. Yes, Krishna has given us the tools. It's up to us whether we use them in the right way or not. Thank you so much. Thank you all for joining. My father Ji as well. Thank you for joining. And we'll catch up again on Friday.
Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Swami ki jai. Srila
Jai.
Prabhupada ki jai.
Jai.
Krishna.
Here it goes.